Wow, Sunday again. Hi everybody, it's Kathy here and we're doing Scrap Knit Crafternoon because it's a Sunday hop and I cannot believe how fast this year is going. Today we're lifting the scrapbook photographer Linda Mowat, and this photo of this layout, I actually watched her do this layout, and this is where I learned how to make my own wood grain background. So thanks Linda, and now we're lifting your layout here. Tara brings us all together every Sunday and we get to choose a different crafter and we get to promote them and create from their layout. So today Linda Mowat is our lucky person that we are lifting, and as you can see I'm creating my own wood grain background. So this is something that Linda did for this layout and this is how I learned from her. It was such an eye-opener and such a new world game changer for me. So today I needed a wood grain, and I wanted it to have a bit of a green pattern through it, but I also wanted the browns to come through. So I used scorched timber, I used some gathered twigs, and I used some rustic wilderness on this one. I also then had this Scrapping Reflections wood grain stencil, which I purchased because I saw Mel W using it, and it is so good. I love it, and I just want the hint of the knots of the wood in the wood grain as well. And using the gathered twigs, I'm just adding it into the background, and then I'm going to go over it again with the smoked the scorched timber, just to add that little bit more definition to that wood grain. And as you can see, pardon me, it's all come together quite nicely. So almost finished with this background. You too can make it yourself. You can make it any colour you like. That's the beauty of creating your own wood grain. Now I have this beautiful piece of paper, and you can't really tell, but up close it's covered in little cameras. And this came from the Scrapbooking Coach, a kit I get every month, and it is perfect for this photo because the photo I'm choosing is very photographic. It's a scene. It's from my trip to Alaska, and we were having a day trip out to the Yukon. For an Aussie girl going to the Yukon, that was a dream come true. I was so excited. It had not been on our agenda, but we were invited to join Jared Hawk, who has his own travel company, and we joined, and it was amazing. I got to go to the Yukon. To me, that's a dream come true. And while we were there, we got to see the Emerald Lake, and that is spectacular. Now, I've already done a page with the Emerald Lake, but this one's going to be a companion page because I just love this photo. This photo that I've taken has all the details in the lake, and I'll show you as we move forward. So I'm just trimming down my base to get it to the right size. Now Linda has a bigger frame around hers. That's okay. I've got a smaller frame. That's because of the size of my photo. And I am throwing on a little bit of Vicky Bouton down at the bottom, so you can see that I mix and match my papers all the time. I don't always go from one full set. Very rarely, in fact, go from one full set. I always mix and match. And the way I can do that is by matching the colours to my photos. And if you do that, you can't go wrong. It really does make a difference if you match it to your photos. So I am building my base just as Linda has on hers, and I'm sorry, I just had to go and get some more tape there. I ran out of some, and I thought I had already brought it over to my table, but I hadn't. So I'm just placing that bottom strip to the there that Linda has on hers, and I am going to use some ribbon. And you saw me use this in the Iron Crafter Challenge just recently, and I love it. It's a cross-hatched ribbon, and it's in calico, and I just like it. And it matches so brilliantly with the wood grain. And there's that photo. Stunning. Look at that. In the photo, the ripples of the waves. Look at the green around the edges. Oh my goodness. And mountains. Mountains. Cannot even tell you about mountains. Like here in Australia, we do not have mountains like it. We don't have mountains cut from ice. That is just phenomenal. And the trees, they are so perfectly straight. Here in Australia, due to drought and winds and the open flooding and the fires, our trees are not vertical. They are not definitely straight. They have curves and bends and things like that. I could not get over the beauty of the trees over there in Alaska and Canada. amazing. I tell you what, I am going back again. It is the ultimate trip. It's so wonderful. Anyone who has never done it, you so need to go. It was the best. And for an Aussie girl over there, oh my gosh, there was just so much to see and do, and I just loved every minute of it. 3 weeks was just not long enough. So I have matted it on white, and then I have put it onto that camera background, which is also the mounted part of the framing. And I am now just going to center it in the middle of my photo. Actually, I'm actually going to put it off to the left just a little, just like Linda does on hers, and that's because of the cluster that I'm just going to build very soon. And look at that, it just matches so beautifully, and now you can see why I needed a bit of green in my wood grain. It just blends beautifully. So here's where I get the bonus. I have joined in some swaps on a group here in Australia called Girls Down Under, and we create embellishments and swap them, and we have themes. And this one, Sharon Bishop made for me, which is amazing and perfect. And then the little title quote was made by one of our own, Mel W., who is a crafter here on YouTube, Mel W. Scrapping, and she created that title, and I'm able to use it. And I'm thrilled that I'm finally able to use some embellishments, but as soon as I saw this layout, I knew which ones I could use for this layout. I've die cut some trees, which you can see they reflect the trees that are in my photos, and I've gone with the blues so that they're not taking away from the photos, but they are complementing with the colours. I've added in some die cuts with some bulrushes and some grass, which was around the lake bottom, and I'm putting in some dragonflies, which is a bit unusual because normally people would opt for the, butterflies, but I went with dragonflies for this one. And so I also put in a geotag up there to the top left-hand corner where Linda has got stars. I used the dragonflies instead of the stars. I've put my embellishment clusters in where she had her Christmas trees, and now I'm just going to add some Tim Holtz spritz, and this one is called Vintage Photo because I don't want it to be overpowering, but I just want it to have a bit of a copper glittery effect to it. And there's my layout, and I just love how it has come together. And of course I've added my Nuvo drops into my 3 areas to create my visual triangle. And look at that, just brilliant. It is a companion page. I don't have to add any details. It will go in with the other pages in my album of my trip to Canada and Alaska. And I just love how this turned out. So it was a great layout, and you can see the elements of Linda's original in mine. I'm just going to finish off here with a little bit more with those Nuvos, just so it looks like little nail heads on that sign so that it finishes off beautifully. I just can't believe how well this turned out. I had a vision. I didn't know that it would work, and it has. So thanks, Linda. I really do appreciate that layout. Thanks, Tara. Thanks, Sharon, for that great cluster there. That is amazing. That one there you can see Mel made. It's fantastic. It blended beautifully. There is a full playlist below of all the crew who are playing along today. Some very talented people. Go and check them out. See how they interpreted this one this week. And I can't wait to see what they've done. Thanks, Mel, as I said, for that quote title. It was perfect for this layout. I hope I've earned a thumbs up from you. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Thanks, everybody. Happy scrapping till next time. And here's my next video. See you over there real soon.